Comedian Norman Freeman appears to be incredibly fortunate to be alive after a terrifying and disturbing car accident that left him shaken and reflecting deeply on what could have easily been a far more tragic outcome. The incident, which he later opened up about publicly, involved a violent collision that unfolded only a couple of days before he decided to speak about it, and the way he described it made it clear just how serious and alarming the situation truly was. According to Norman, the crash was not a minor traffic incident or a simple fender bender, but instead a shocking chain of events involving multiple vehicles, including both an SUV and an 18-wheeler, which turned what could have been an ordinary drive into something far more dangerous and life-threatening in an instant. Norman Freeman shared the news on Sunday, revealing that he had been involved in the accident and that the experience was still fresh in his mind. His words carried a sense of disbelief and gratitude as he recounted how everything happened just a couple of days prior. The fact that he chose to speak about it at all suggested that the weight of the experience was still settling on him, and he made it clear that at first he had not even planned to post about it publicly. However, despite initially hesitating, he eventually decided to share what happened, perhaps as a way of expressing gratitude for surviving such a frightening ordeal and acknowledging just how quickly things could have gone in a completely different direction. In his account of the crash, Norman explained that he was struck not just by one vehicle, but by two separate ones during the incident. He stated that an SUV was involved in hitting him, and in addition to that, an 18-wheeler was also part of the collision. The mention of both a large SUV and an even larger commercial truck immediately underscored the severity of the situation, as such vehicles carry significant weight and force, making any collision involving them potentially catastrophic. Norman's description of being hit by both vehicles painted a picture of chaos and danger, suggesting that the moments during the crash must have been incredibly intense and disorienting. Alongside his explanation, Norman also shared photos from the aftermath of the wreck. These images, according to reports, were deeply unsettling and difficult to look at, showing the extent of the damage caused during the collision. One of the most striking visuals he shared included a Mercedes-Benz that had been completely mangled, its structure crushed and distorted as it was being towed onto a truck bed. The condition of the vehicle alone reflected the force of the impact involved in the crash, leaving viewers with a clear sense of just how destructive the accident had been. It was not entirely clear whether the severely damaged Mercedes-Benz was the exact car Norman had been traveling in at the time, or whether it was the SUV that had struck him during the incident. This uncertainty only added to the confusion surrounding the crash, but it did not lessen the gravity of what had occurred. The images he posted served as a stark visual reminder of how quickly a normal situation on the road can turn into something devastating. The crushed metal, the twisted frame, and the overall wreckage depicted in the photos all contributed to the sense of shock surrounding the incident. Even without knowing every detail of how the crash unfolded second by second, the condition of the vehicles alone was enough to communicate the seriousness of the situation. For Norman, choosing to share these images seemed to be part of his way of processing what had happened, as well as showing others just how close he came to a potentially fatal outcome. Reflecting on the experience, Norman expressed deep gratitude for surviving the crash. In his own words, he emphasized how thankful he was that he made it through the incident alive. He stated, "I wasn't going to post this, but I'm extremely grateful. I got hit by an SUV and an 18-wheeler a couple days ago. Thank God I survived, and I wasn't at fault." His message combined shock, relief, and appreciation in a very direct and emotional way, highlighting the fact that he not only survived a dangerous situation, but also came out of it without being responsible for causing it. The inclusion of gratitude in his statement reflected a strong emotional response to what he had experienced, as well as an acknowledgement of how unpredictable and fragile life can be in moments like these.